We have an early look at the expected cost of living adjustment for Social Security in 2025. It's not as good as last year or the year before, and it's not as good as I guess it's less than what I expected, but that's just me. Do you actually remember what Social Security, what the increase was for 2023? We can see in 2023 it was a big one at 8.7%, and last year was 3.2%. And then I'll share what the estimate is for next year in about 20 seconds, because that's what you came here for. But also stay tuned, because right after this, I'm going to point out 3 risks that we just need to be aware of when we're planning retirement income and as we're starting to draw on Social Security. That's really important. So the initial estimate earlier this year for 2025 was less than 2%. But the most recent revision says that it's going to be around 2.6%. That's for 2025. And the final numbers are going to come in at the end of the year. But more importantly, I don't want you to miss these 3 risks to your retirement income. And by the way, if you like that I got to that answer to the title of this video right away without giving you the runaround, let me know by clicking the like button or leaving a comment. But let's get to the risks. These are the 3 that we reduce for people when they're coming to Streamline Financial and when they're building their retirement income plans. So I'll share them with you as well so that you can do the same as you're thinking about your retirement more than ever right now. By the way, if I haven't met you yet, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Dave Zoller. I own Streamline Financial. We've been around, I've been helping people for a decade and a half. We can only help a select number of people at Streamline Financial. So we created this channel to hopefully help a lot more people. So let's get to the 3 risks. Risk number 1 is we just don't want to run out of money, right? We can call it longevity if you can read my writing. We don't want to run out. We both know we can't run out of money before we run out of time. The good news is Social Security, that income that we get from there, that actually helps reduce this risk, right? It lasts as long as you're alive. So that's the great thing about Social Security. But I think I can hear some people saying out there, good luck, Social Security is going to be insolvent by 2023. Yes, we know the facts. We know the timeline. But did you know back when you were in your 20s or even your teenage years, Social Security, the trust fund, it was a few months from running out, from being depleted. There was a few months left before it was going to run out or start to be insolvent. Now, you didn't care back then. It was the early 80s, right? What were you doing in the early 80s? You were probably living it up. It was 1982 to be exact. So Congress, they waited until the last minute. There's a month or a few months left, and they increased your full retirement age from 65 to 67. That's the Social Security full retirement age. So you probably didn't even know or care back then. And they also changed the taxation of Social Security for some people, and then they added some people to the program, like government employees. So that solved the problem, and it was fixed after that. So if I had to guess, they're going to wait until 2033 when their backs are up against the wall and they have to make a decision, and then they're going to change the 20-year-olds full retirement age, or the people who probably don't care about it that much, and that's going to fix the problem. So most likely, you're not going to be affected if you're taking Social Security in 2033 or you're close to taking Social Security at that time. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. But again, that's my opinion. Now, back to the running out of money risk. That's a real risk. There's other things that can help with this one big risk, and that's things like pensions. Not everyone has those anymore, but that's something. And then that idea of annuities. Although those annuities, they come with quite a few costs and hidden risks by themselves. So just be careful if someone's pitching those to you. We actually just saved a subscriber who became a client, and we saved him because he was getting sold an annuity, and it was definitely not in his best interest. But there's a lot of things. If you've ever seen one of those, all the info about annuities and what is in the plan, it's hard to understand. But let's get to risk number 2. And that's one we're hearing a lot about now, and that is inflation. You've probably seen the image of how $1 gets less and less valuable over time. If you haven't, here's the quick sneak peek. This is actually $100 back in 1913. And all this is saying is, what's the actual purchasing power of a dollar? And I'll move myself out of the way here so that you can see this. But the big thing here is things get more and more expensive every year. And what we need to do is have income sources that also beat inflation, right? Here's the great news. Social Security, it helps with this. So this risk number 2, Social Security also helps with inflation because of that cost of living adjustment we were just talking about. And some people argue, they say, that's cost of living adjustment that they do, that's not enough. It should be more. The real increase in expenses, real inflation at the grocery store and gas and everything, it's a lot more than that, but we don't have control over that, right? At least it's something. We don't have control, but what does it actually mean for you? So here's a couple real numbers. As of December 2023, average Social Security check was $1,767. So a 2.6% increase would add about $46 per month per person. So maybe it doesn't seem that substantial, but at least it's something, right? And most annuities that we see, that was the other thing here with, as we're thinking through these different ideas, they don't really have cost of living increases. So we're not going to include it there. Now, some do. It's expensive. You can add it on, but just something to be aware of. And pensions, they might, but not always. So the one right here that does increase is Social Security, but there's also income sources that can fight inflation. And it's around the certain asset classes that you hold that have historically, they've outpaced inflation and increased above that rising cost. So this is part of the bear market protection plan that we help with clients. It's here's the simple look. It's the 3-bucket strategy. This is high level, and it's conservative assets and moderate or middle of the road, and then growth assets. And the thing that outpaces inflation is this one, the growth assets. And you've probably seen the 4 economic seasons before, where it's either higher than expected inflation or deflation, or higher than expected economic growth or lower than expected economic growth. And we just want to make sure that we have asset classes in each one of the seasons so our income plan doesn't have to get impacted for whatever season we go into, because we don't know what's going to happen next. Economists like to guess and say, this is going to happen. Nobody really knows. So just be prepared for any season. Now back to the 3 risks here. The third one is we need income sources that are unaffected by bad or just unpredictable markets, right? Or economic changes. We need things that are unaffected by these economic changes. Hey, good news. Social Security does not get impacted by bad markets or economic changes, you could say. So how about that? We've got Social Security. Let me get the green highlighter in all 3 of these. So it is a foundational element to your retirement planning. I would say pensions too don't get impacted, and annuities. Now, there's all these different types of annuities. So just, again, be careful about these ones and pay attention. There's variable annuities or fixed index annuities, all these things. So just make sure you get a few opinions there when it comes to these annuities. And the other thing here, which I'm going to say is, I didn't add here, but it's your portfolio and your portfolio. Going back to the 3 buckets image here, we can help prepare for bad markets or economic uncertainty through the conservative bucket. Actually, back in March of 2020, we had a client called up. It was, you remember March of 2020 and the pandemic, and she was just retired just before that. And within a few weeks, the investments or the stock market had gone down by 30% or so. She was worried. We looked at her conservative bucket here, and we saw that year to date, it was positive over 3% return. And you could just feel the worry, the fear, it just lifted from her shoulders. That was a scary time. I'm sure you remember it, but the financial worry wasn't there anymore for her. So if your advisor isn't thinking about or planning this way for your retirement, find a retirement specialist who is. If you're still with me throughout this video and you found this helpful, then click the like button. Let me know if it was helpful. And then here's another great video on just focusing on making your retirement even better than it is. Or if you're getting into retirement, make it better, get prepared. So I'll see you in that video, and then take care. Have a great day.